Hey guys, Tyler here with a update video on BCS Pasadena. I ended up going and playing in both the standard and premium tournament. As you can see, the standard tournament, I ended up doing very well. I placed 23rd overall. I wanted to go over the weekend with you guys, kind of tell you my rounds, the wins, losses, stuff like that. The deck profile as well for the lovely bat. And then I will talk about premium. Premium is going to be kind of brief. And then I want to go over all the stuff I ended up picking up out there as well, thanks to the Boost Road pop-up stand. So let's go ahead and let's start off with the deck profile. So let's get right on into it. So, ride line, fairly simple, pretty normal for bat. Just ended up running the Ava ride line up to bat himself. I prefer the Ava ride line just as I have it handy and some of them in hollow, as well as with Ava getting some support in this previous set. It could kind of throw your opponent off a little bit. Not realistically. We did see a couple Avas running around there. So, for anybody just kind of unaware of what this deck is, it could catch somebody off guard very easily. So if you don't know what any of this does, the standard starter for D, if you go second, you draw. The grade 1 Ava is the same as the Macrite one whenever it's placed on Vanguard. Or sorry, the Archite. I don't know why I always say Macrite. Search deck for a research card, add it to your research order, add it to your reveal it, add it to your hand. Grade 2 does the exact same effect. And then bat himself, when he's placed on Vanguard, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, put all set orders from among them into the order zone, and then shuffle your deck. And then at the end of the battle, he attacks. You can choose 3 different named set orders and restand rearguard, or you can choose 5 different named set orders, send them back to the deck. Restand a rearguard and himself, he gets -2 drives and he receives plus 10,000 power. This is not grade locked and it is not once per turn. That is the biggest thing about the deck. Running 2 copies of Persona Ride within the deck. It does come up. I was very tempted to cut them permanently, but I'm glad I didn't. There was multiple games within the event that I needed to go into a second copy to try to reset up board state, and definitely came in handy. Grade 2s wise, running 4 copies of the Penguin. So Penguin is very crucial for the deck. It is how you're searching out all your different orders. When he is discarded from hand, you get to look at top 5 cards of your deck during your turn. You get to look at top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 set order from among them, and add it to your hand. So he allows you to go digging and thin your deck, as well as getting all those lovely set orders to your hand where you want them. 3 copies of the Savalud. He is very crucial for the deck as well. Basically all the main pieces in the deck are crucial. He allows you to start cycling, repicking up certain monsters out of your order zone, and discarding your penguins for you as well, so you can keep searching. Also gives you out of some tight spots sometimes, and he is a 15k beat stick most of the time if you use his Soul Blast 2 effect. So while he's in the order zone, you can Soul Blast 2, call him to rearguard circle, and he gets +5. And then when he is placed, you get to add that monster from the order zone to your hand, and then discard a card from your hand. So helps just with the synergy and the flow of the deck, and be able to keep consistently picking up your pieces that you're discarding early on, whether it's for early shield value or just because you're having to discard cards to ride up. He allows you to get those pieces back to your hand as you want. 3 copies of the Jumbo Crusher. This is your kill con. This is how you kill people with this deck. Whenever he attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with that name, bat name, I never pronounce it, I just always call it bat. Your zone in your order zone has 3 different named set orders. You can counter blast 1, energy blast 3. You draw a card, he gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. If your order zone has 5 different named set orders, he gets plus 1 critical until end of turn as well. Also, not a once per turn. So as long as you have 5 different named set orders, you have a counter blast and energy to get rid of. You can keep stacking this, and he gets very big, very fast, and a lot of damage quick. 3 copies of the the card that broke the deck, that allows the deck to function in its whole, Moe Flash. If you have a grade 3 Bat Vanguard, you can retire this unit, reveal 3 different named set orders from your hand, put all set orders revealed this way to your hand, or to the order zone, and then if you reveal 3 different named, you draw a card, 3 or more. The biggest thing with this is his wording is very weird. So with him, as long as you get to reveal as many cards from your hand as you want that are set orders, so you can reveal 7, 10, 3, 12, doesn't matter. As long as 3 of them are different named, the rest does not matter. So that is the biggest thing with him. That is the Japanese ruling, and that is the ruling that has Cam over here. So he allows you to just dump your whole hand in your order zone, and then just a free setup, and then you just go bat. 2 copies of the Monster PG. Very crucial, actually. This was a last-minute adjustment for me. I originally did not have these in here at all. I was just very much like, hey, why am I gonna, need PGs? And I started thinking about it. I'm like, in cases of mirror match, I'd want it. In cases my opponent hits over trigger on me, I'm gonna want the PG to be able to try to mitigate how much damage I am taking. As much as I want damage, I don't want too much damage, so that way I can potentially survive if you end up living my kill turn and then try to do it again. So, got to run the monster ones just so they're searchable. That's the biggest thing is since you're deck thinning so much with this deck, a lot of your cards, like, you'll see cards that you're like, hey, I kind of want that, but if you're not doing that specific search, you're just not going to see it because you're not able to grab it. And you don't go through, you don't get a lot of, you don't go through your deck much. Your goal is to kill on your first grade 3 turn, so you don't have many turns to draw into the pieces you need. You just got to be able to find them off of effects. So the monster ones are very crucial. Trigger lineup, of course, the Brent Gate over trigger. It's a busted effect, and within this deck, it's even worse because then everything just, your Jumbo Crushers go from being 2 damage to 4, 3 damage to 6, as well as if you saw any criticals off the first drive check that you stacked on bat goes from 1 to 2 or 2 to 4. So very much crucial. The Brent Gate one is absolutely amazing. I am running 8 criticals. It does not matter which critical triggers you are running. I'm just running 8 of the Bang Dream crits. This was originally my Ava deck, so the whole core is just kind of like the trigger lineup and stuff. The basics of it is just Ava. So this is just what I had in my Ava deck, and I just never switched it over to any other ones. But yeah, any 8 critical triggers work. I am running 7 fronts. This is pure aggro. You are not running any heal triggers. If you have to take that 6 damage and you got to bank on your over trigger, if you don't get it, you're just dead. This deck's whole goal is, like I said, is to kill as fast as possible, so that way your opponent doesn't get to do what they want to do. It's as fast as possible. The 30k shield ones are the 20k shield ones, are necessary. This is a key defensive value if you need to play an additional turn. Having the 20k shield is very much necessary for this, I do believe. And then any 3 random fronts. I went 2-1, just throw people off to try to figure out whether I'm running 8 crit, 7 front, or 8 front, 7 crit, what my ratios were. So it just doesn't allow... It's not like the biggest confusion, but it does help, so that way your opponent can't quite always calculate exactly what's left for you. Orders. This is going to be the longest process, but running Experiment Blue, or Blue Research Lab, when it's put into the order zone, you top 5, choose up to 1 unit from among them, call it to rear guard, and shuffle. Sometimes this allows you to end up finding your jumbo that you're missing, Savaled to be able to keep cycling, extra Mo Flash, so if you used one and you don't have a second one, this can get you your second one. Biggest thing is it filters a piece out of the deck. One of Nobody Knows. Once put in the order zone, choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire it. Remember, it's front row. I about messed that up once. This helps get rid of annoying interceptors, like Impaldio has the 20k interceptor, I believe it is. Stuff like that you want to just be able to get rid of. Reduce their defensive value, so that way you can try to push as fast as possible and aggro. 2 copies of Experiment Successful. Successful when it's placed, you get to draw a card, discard a card, and then if you have 3 or more researches in there, you can Soul Blast 1 bind a unit. Same kind of concept with the binding. You just want to get rid of resources for them in case they end up living. They don't have access to that resource, or it just gets rid of shield value. Biggest thing is the draw and discard. So you draw a card. If you have a penguin in hand, you get to discard it, filter further through your deck. 3 copies of Howling Moonlit Night. When it's placed in the order zone, draw a card. This is also an order you don't feel bad playing from hand if you are just trying to dig for that last piece and hope it's the top card. So Soul Blast 1 to play it instead of Counterblast or anything like that. No other restrictions. And then you get to just draw a card, which is very helpful. 2 copies of Replenishment Dock. Counterblast 1, when put in the order zone, you draw a card, and then your grade 2 units gain boost. Grade 2 rear guards gain boost. So, the boost portion does help sometimes, depending on what your full setup is. Sometimes you'll have 2 Saddle Leads next to each other, and then you're able to boost the other one with the other one because of this, as well as the draw is very crucial. Once you do your setup to drop all your orders, you want to try to refill your hand because you're going to drop basically your whole hand, and then you want to be able to refill your hand. Keep digging for pieces, as well as it's just in case your opponent lives, you have some defensive value left. 2 Eclipse Moonlight. Generates a Shadow Army token. Shadow Army tokens end up being your crucial boosters for the deck. Lets you hit some pretty fun numbers against your opponent, especially when they're at grade 2. Them being a 15k, so you boost a Jumbo. Now they are you use Jumbo's effect. He is sitting at 35 at that moment, so they're having to commit what's that? 30k shield to try to not take that one. So lets you hit some fun numbers. The biggest order for your deck for early game is your Torrential Energy Research. This searches all your monsters. When it's put in the order zone, you reveal top 5. Choose up to 2 monsters from among them. Put 1 to your hand, discard the other one. So this allows you to find your pieces, start setting up your drop zone, and then also for this one, in the order zone, you get to rest it. Choose a card with monster in its name from drop and put it in your order zone. So this is how you're setting up your order zone for Savalud, as well as just being able to filter stuff. Very, very crucial for the deck. This is basically your whole search from Ava Rhineline, is you're just grabbing these. If you already have all of them, then you start grabbing the other researches. So yeah, it's 3 copies of that one. And 3 copies of Meteor Shower. Meteor Shower is also a crucial order you must run in here, I feel. The on-play Soul Charge one is very helpful, so that way you can keep using your effects for Soul Blast and keep cycling cards. Keep digging, keep trying to find your pieces and thinning your deck out as much as possible. And then if it is placed by your Bat effect, you get to draw because it is still placed by a Vanguard effect. So, yeah, 3 copies of that. So that is the deck profile. I was very happy with how the deck performed overall. This deck is very consistent for what it is. I know it was one of those things, like when I first put it together and I was looking at it, I'm like, this has to be very inconsistent. If not, this is a problem, and I can tell you this is a problem. This deck is absolutely a menace. I would not be surprised to see if we definitely see a hit on it. I'm surprised we haven't already, as the updated ban list did drop. I'm surprised it wasn't one of the hits in there. This deck just doesn't allow your opponent to play the game if you see perfect setup. You see perfect setup, they give you some early damage, you just get to swing into them with no remorse, and a lot of times you're going to kill them while they're at grade 2, or they might get 1 grade 3 turn, and then that's it. Like I said, your goal is to kill as fast as possible with this deck, and just push pressure as much as possible. So, going into the 8 rounds of the main tournament, round 1, I played against a Morte. It was just his fun kind of deck he wanted to play for the BCS. I believe he said he already had his invite, or he already hit top 32 or something like that, and he just wanted to mess around. Not a problem, he was having fun. That's the biggest thing. he really didn't get it. Like, I believe I killed him turn while he was at grade 2, or he might have had one grade 3 turn. The deck did what it was supposed to. It performed. I ended up winning that round. Round 2, played against Charmute. Yeah, I believe that's how you pronounce it. The lyrical deck that all the rear guards with the certain name gain the become the same power as their Vanguard, and then the back row can attack. Played against that person. Person ended up being very fantastic, very kind person, and ended up talking to them a little bit more throughout the event, especially day 2, and very awesome person there. Very glad to meet them. Ended up winning that one. They did tell me they played a bat the round before for round 1, and that person did not end up seeing the setup they needed, and I saw exactly what I needed into them, and they were very awesome, but ended up clenching round 2. Round 3, played against a Levy Dress. I ended up losing that round. So with into that matchup, my opponent, I talked to him afterwards, of course, but my opponent basically stated he had like no defensive value in his hand whatsoever, so he just went pure aggro, and at the moment, like, he saw a critical trigger first Vanguard swing and a critical trigger second Vanguard swing. The second one he knew about because he was able to look at top card with the Keter and Stoicheia Dual Nation grade 2. I had no shield value in hand. I was sitting, I believe I had a 5k, and that was about it. The rest of my hand was all set orders. That's just how the deck is. If they can like full rush like that, and you have no way to stop it, and you don't see the key defenses triggers at the moment, you can just die very easily as well. Like, the deck is very much a glass cannon deck, especially early game. Like, if they have just key rush, you just can't really do too much about it. But that person I'm losing to did also end up in top 32, so definitely did not feel bad there at all. Did put me kind of on edge knowing that I was already at 1 loss and it was only round 3. But just kind of kept in my head and just kind of kept playing throughout the day, and just knowing that there's only so much in the sense of if my deck bricked. I can't do much about it. I'm going to do my best to play it to the fullest. And then round 4, played against the Shiranui. Ended up getting there. This deck feels really good into the Stride decks and Crest decks. It just genuinely does, just because they are wanting to go second. So most of the time, even if you lose the dice roll, they're going to pick second. So then you're just like, okay, I'm fine. That's where I want to be. And the extra card draw is a little nerve-wracking sometimes, knowing that they're getting 2 cards on their first write-up instead of just 1. Sometimes that allows them just to survive just enough. But that's when you just got to play smarter and realize at a certain point, maybe don't fully go on in, and just take like a step back and know that, hey, I can live their turn, their first stride turn, and knowing that if you play it right and just keep certain cards in certain places, you can full set up again the next turn and reapply the same pressure, if not more pressure, especially if you see a break ride or a persona ride. Bad terms, jeez. Very tired. Sorry, guys. I worked all day. Round 5 went into a Night Rose. That was, I can say, probably the most obnoxious match of the day. That deck just does not die. It's just so defensive, and it's just what the deck is, how it's designed, and it's such a defensive deck, and it's kind of obnoxious, I ain't gonna lie. I ended up getting that round. I ended up winning that round as well. It did take me, I believe, 3 grade 3 turns, which was the longest in the whole event, for me to turn around and end up still winning. So I played the deck very well. He can't say he did necessarily anything wrong, but yeah, I was just able to see the pieces when I need them and hit triggers when I needed it, which was fantastic. And then round 6, played against another Shiranui. Ended up winning that one as well. Again, same kind of concept. You're just wanting to try to rush and push, and just, again, keep in mind, at a certain point, you might need to just step back and set up, just keep your setup as much as possible for the following turn. You don't ever want to really go a pure vanilla turn with this deck. You want to be able to apply as much pressure, so that way your opponent feels like they have to apply that pressure back. give you the damage that you need for Jumbo and be able to kill with that. Round 7, played against an Odium. That was a long game as well. He saw a lot of defense, and he did make a mistake. He ended up missing his divine skill. I had enough defense in hand to survive his divine skill turn, and then it was a very, very close game. Ended up squeezing that one through there. Then round 8, played against another Odium. Same kind of concept, like you're just doing the same thing, and I believe I did hit over trigger on that one, so I feel a little bad there, but just applying a lot of pressure. This deck, that's what it absolutely is designed to do, is to apply pressure, and it does a very, very good job at doing that. Sitting there for top cuts, this is the first time I've ever been in a deck check scenario. It was very nerve-wracking, especially around me. I believe, I might be slightly wrong on this, but if I remember correctly, we had about 3 disqualifications due to sleeve issues, and then I believe there was like 7 re-sleeves happening as well in the deck checks for top cuts, which was crazy to see. I luckily had no issues. So I ended up going into round 1 playing against a Raziel, and unfortunately I did not win. I ended up losing right then and there, so that was the end of my top cuts. It was very unfortunate. My opponent got very, very lucky on a lot of damage triggers. They even admitted that, hey, the damage triggers saved them, very much so. I believe I want to say they hit 6 damage triggers in a row, basically. Between 2 different turns, but it might have only been 5, but it was still just crazy. And one of them being a 6 damage heal, and I can't do much about that. I just was not as lucky as he was for the day. So that was the breakdown of what happened within Standard, on my end at least. I had an absolute blast. Going into this deck, I was very hesitant just because I had been practicing a lot with Odium and Levidras, and I was originally content on taking one of those 2, and then I built this deck for testing for my locals, for the people going with as well. And then I just ended up realizing this deck is just very much like, if I see everything, I'm just going to steamroll through, and I just need to play to my best abilities and not worry so much about what my opponent can do. That's the biggest strength I feel of this deck, is the fact that you don't care what your opponent does. You just want to play your own game. It is solitaire dot deck, as everybody calls it, and it does a very good job at doing that. And then for premium on Sunday, I ended up taking Shiranui with me. I went 3-3, and then I ended up dropping. Premium is a format that I wish I got more testing for. I just don't get enough testing with it, as there's not very many people at my locals that play Premium. I just went to Shiranui, as it was a deck that I played heavily in G-Era, towards the end of G-Era, and I absolutely enjoyed playing. Between Shiranui and Spikes, those are my 2 biggest decks I like playing in Premium still, and Shiranui is just the more consistent one. It sucks it is a crest deck, in the sense of, like, you almost feel like you have to see the crest to win. It helps a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, crest is absolutely, I feel it's a problem in Premium, in my opinion. I feel like crest is, like, the more decks we see with crest and the more stuff coming out with that, it's just going to become more and more and more of a problem. We'll see what Bushiroad ends up doing about it in the long run. If they do anything at all, that's up to them. I know, unfortunately, Premium just kind of feels like that dying format as well, just due to, like, the lack of play of it in Japan. I know Standard's just the bigger format overall, which I get and I understand, but it does kind of suck seeing that, like, a lot of stuff that's running rampant in Japan, in Premium, that's just gonna stick around, just because there's not very much concern for what happens Premium wise overall. I don't regret taking Shiranui. I would definitely do it again. I'm gonna try to get more and more practice with Premium, just so that way Hopefully I can do very well in premium as well the next time around I get to go. But yeah, it was 3 wins, 3 losses. At a certain point, you just know, like, hey, I'm not going to make top cuts. All my other buddies were done as well, and we're just like, hey, let's just go get food. So we ended up stopping there. I had a blast in premium as well. Like, it's always fun. My round 1 opponent was a Nova Grapplers player, so that makes 3 BCSs in a row where my round 1 for premium was Nova Grappler, which is just kind of funny to me. And yeah, it was the dude was really cool, awesome. Ended up chatting with him for a bit as well there. But yeah, so I'm gonna transition from here to go over the stuff I picked up at BCS with the Bushiroad pop-up stand. I'm not gonna go over too much about all the like little nitty-gritty cards I ended up picking up because that'll take way too long. As well as I did end up playing in a side event, and I did end up winning all 3 rounds of the side event for the winner energy as well. But yeah, so deck boxes wise, they had very much of a variety. If you guys kind of want to see what they had, you can check out the shorts I did. It's very choppy just because I was having to pause, wait for people to move and then continue. So I apologize about that. But it got the point across. You got to basically see mostly what all they had. I ended up picking up a Morte deck box, as this was one of the ones I never picked up in the first place when they dropped. This is the version 3 of it. I like having the theme deck boxes. I'm just very much an aesthetics person. I finally got myself a Levidros deck box, as well as this was not in a theme deck box for it. So I was happy I was able to pick that up. I picked up the Moongate deck box, as they had this guy out already, so I picked him up, as well as they did have his sleeves out. So I ended up picking up the unit sleeves as well. I believe they had his character sleeves. Character sleeves are kind of iffy for me. Sometimes I'd rather just have the unit sleeves. They just look better in my opinions, most of the time anyways. But yeah, so those were the 3 deck boxes. There was 1 pack of sleeves I ended up picking up. They had the Valentine's Day stuff there, so I ended up picking up the now Valentine's Day sleeves as well. I think they did a very good job on these Valentine's Day sleeves. I think they are designed very well and they look very pretty. I ended up picking up these. I apologize. I watched the series, but unfortunately, the names sometimes just pass through my head, as I have not been fully up to date with them, with the series. But yeah, so I ended up picking up these ones as well as the Megami ones. Knowing Magnolia is getting support and we're getting the new Magnolia stuff, I figured I might as well pick these up for when I rebuild Magnolia. So those were the Valentine's Day collection ones I ended up grabbing. As well as, I can't remember which ones these were called, but I ended up picking up the 2 sleeves here. The God, what's his name? This one's Yu, and then Akina. Yeah, the Akina sleeves for these designs. I think these are also really pretty. I like the simplistic style of it, where just the silhouette of the character just does very well. So I ended up grabbing those. I got the character sleeves for Erika now, for some of you who know. But yeah, so I ended up picking up these, and it just goes well with my Morte deck box. I don't think they had unit sleeves, was the biggest thing, is why I ended up grabbing these. But yeah, so got those. I did pick up myself a actual pack of Odium sleeves, because I have character sleeves on there. So I wanted to pick up the unit sleeves. I felt like I was definitely going to regret it if I didn't. So they were there, so I ended up grabbing these as well. Picked up myself a pack of Venus Lucaire sleeves. I've messed around with the Lucaire deck a bit. I don't have it built currently, but at some point I'll probably want to rebuild it and just mess around with it. So it'll be nice to have the actual sleeves for those as well. last set of Vanguard sleeves I picked up, I got the Destined 1 sleeves. My buddies had these for a bit, and I thought they were awesome, so I picked myself up a set of them. I don't know where I'm going to use these. I might just start using them for Rye decks, for all the Destined 1 decks, but that's just kind of depending on what I do there. But yes, got those. And then the 1 pack of Y short sleeves I ended up picking up was the Asuna and God, what's her name? I can't remember. From the Mother's Rosario episode for any Sword Art fans out there. As you guys know, I play Union Arena as well. Union Arena is coming out with the Sword Art Online set here soon. I want to pick up, so having sleeves for it as well, and not having to purchase the Bandai versions whenever we get those, if we ever see those. I saw these, so I ended up grabbing these as well, just to keep with the theme stuff with my decks. But I do appreciate you guys watching the video. Apologize if it's not the most organized mess, but I try. Slowly working on just being able to do this more consistently for you guys. Life's just life right now, and busy, college, work, personal stuff going on, running events, stuff like that. So I appreciate all of you who stick around, watch these videos, and like, comment. All of it helps so much, and appreciate just all the support. I will see you guys in the next one, and catch you guys later.